my lunch break, I go out for a walk. The same walk every day. During my walk, I passed the former St. Paul's School at the Hammersmith Road. Built at the end of the 19th century by Alfred Waterhouse, the architect of the Natural History Museum, the school has been abandoned for decades, until recently, after months of renovation, it reopened as a beautiful boutique hotel. While I was passing by the hotel, the construction site workers were noticing me, and they started to shout at me daily, saying, "Hey love, I like your hats!" Or, "Do you sleep with your hat on?" And every day I would give them my brightest smile and wave. But is it really so bad? Is my love for hats really that bad? And where does this hat love come from? With my affection for history, I also wondered about the evolution of hats. And where do they come? Why do people wear hats? Hats has been around for millennia. And first and foremost, it's used to protect against the natural elements, like the sun, the rain, and the wind. Take, for instance, this Mexican sombrero, perfectly designed to beat the mighty sun if it shines. In the parts of the world where there is a bit more rainfall, we need a bucket hat, like this, to protect against the rainfall. But also, perhaps we forgot that a bit because of the nice climate the last few months, but sometimes it can be very cold. And these woolen hats are really, really perfect in those cases. But throughout history, hats has also been used, and very important, to show one's social status. From here in the West, from the Middle Ages up until the 20th century, it was very important for that reason, for both men and women. A woman, for instance, there was a distinct difference if you're a common woman, you would just simply wear a veil, or when you were a lady, which was a bit more elaborate. Yeah, that's what we but hats still also have a religious version. And I don't only talk about the clerics, like the bishop. Also normal people, normal common believers need to sometimes cover their heads or at least cover their hair. However, nowadays, hats are mainly used as a fashion statement. It was a bit in decline, the popularity of hats in the 1960s, but it made a comeback. Usually attributed to the late Princess Diana. But then again, everything relating to style is just these days related back to Lady Di, so I don't know about that. But it is nowadays a fashion statement. It really shows you who you are. Now, I would love to tell you that my love for hats is actually an expression of me. But to be very honest, I have to admit that I started wearing hats in my late teens and early 20s because of the many hideous haircuts that I did in those days. I just needed to cover it up. And for some kind of reason, I don't have any photos of these. What a pity. But what I do have are some of the hats, and some of them in this beautiful box. Now this hat box really represents for me what I love so much about hats. Tress was a hat manufacturer in South London until the 1950s. This box was sent in the 1940s to Edinburgh, and it made its way back, and 70 years later it is proudly displayed in my flat. It was given to me, by the way, by a returning character of all my speeches, my neighbour and style guru, Vel. The hats out of this period, out of the 1930s and 1950s, are really classical. I really love them, and they always remind me of my granddad's hats. By chance, Vel and I were watching a movie from 1943 last week. A classic one from Alfred Hitchcock, called Shadow of a Doubt. And as you can see on these slides, there were a lot of hats in this movie. The hats that these gentlemen are wearing are called so-called fedora hats, or gangster hats, as it's also known as. and I really, really love them. Don't they look dapper with these hats and these nice tailor jackets? That's the look I'm after. Then a bit more female touch with cowboy boots, but really that is what I'm after. But I wasn't always like that. When I started wearing hats, in my late teens, I just wear baseball caps and all that. And after that, I briefly, let me just get you through the drops, I briefly also wore these bucket hats. I don't really do that anymore. I don't really like it anymore. This one is the only one I kept for sentimental reasons. But for a long period of time, the hat of my choice was the so-called Gatsby hat, or the newsboy cap, with 8 panels on the top and a button. This cap was particularly popular in the early 20th century among the lower working class, which was quite fitting for me, because when I was wearing this, I was a happy but very poor student. And this hat was perfectly matching my ragged sneakers and my tote bag. The highlight of my Gatsby period was actually this nice little fine hat that I bought near the Spanish chairs in Rome. Got a lot of fond memories of that. It was around this time, 7 years ago, that I first bought a hat, which was a bit of a tie between the fedora hat and the Tridley hat, with this on the back and this going to the front. And that's what I started with 7 years ago. And to be honest, it got a little bit out of control then over the last year or so, and almost to the point of uncontrollability. And I do have to admit, just like people have with handbags and with any kind of shoes, but I can still assure you, Madam Toastmaster, I still don't sleep. Leave my head on. Thank you very much.